On behalf of our chairperson, Ms. Ritu Shah, I, Prachi Trivedi Shah, Honorary Secretary, Flow Hyderabad Chapter, would like to welcome you all to a tantalizing session, Taste of Success, with none other than Master Chef Vikas Khanna and our very own chef, Shankar Krishnamurthy of Fusion 9. Could I kindly request everyone to please put your phones on silent and rise for the national anthem.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
For our ceremonial lighting of the lamp, it is an honor to request Flow Chairperson Ms. Ritu Shah and our guests today, Mr. Vikas Khanna and Mr. Shankar Krishnamurthy, along with our Y Flow Chairperson, Ms. Aarti Shah. Could I kindly request our core committee, followed by the ECs, to join in for photographs? Auguste Escoffier had said, "The fine art of preparing a dish is one of the most important aspects of becoming a good cook. For as in many forms of art, the works of a master, past and present, are the finest models to use for inspiration." Today, we embark on a captivating journey into the heart of an industry that touches us all, whether through our senses, our memories, or our everyday experiences. Our session today dives into the journey and expertise of legend Master Chef Mr. Vikas Khanna. I now call upon Ms. Meenakshi Nahata, EC Head of Events Team, to kindly introduce our guests, Mr. Vikas Khanna and Mr. Shankar Krishnamurthy.
Hello, hello.
Vikas Khanna is an internationally renowned Indian-American chef, filmmaker, and prolific author. He is notably recognized as a James Beard Award nominee and one of the first Indian chefs to attain a prestigious Michelin star in the United States. Vikas Khanna's culinary expertise has earned him a spot among the top 10 most influential chefs globally, as acknowledged by the Deutsche Welle and Gadget Review. Vikas Khanna is a prominent TV personality known for hosting culinary shows like MasterChef India, Twist of Taste, and Mega Kitchens, featured on National Geographic Channel. With over 40 award-winning books to his name, including the prestigious Utsav, regarded as the world's most expensive cookbook, he has left an indelible mark in the literary world. Additionally, he is the mastermind behind acclaimed documentary series such as Holy Kitchens and Kitchens of Gratitude. His restaurants, Kinara and Ellora in Dubai, have earned the distinction of being Condé Nast's favorite Indian dining destinations. Beyond his culinary ventures, Vikas Khanna has displayed remarkable philanthropy, especially through his Feed India initiative, which provided over 80 million meals during the COVID-19 pandemic. Vikas Khanna ventured into filmmaking with The Last Color, a debut that qualified for consideration in the Best Feature category at the 2020 Oscars. Currently, his latest documentary, Barefoot Empress, focuses on girl-child education in India and is making waves in the global festival circuit. Welcome, Mr. Vikas Khanna. Shankar Krishnamurthy, a seasoned chef turned entrepreneur with over 35 years of international experience, began his journey at the Oberoi's in Delhi and Mumbai. In 2003, he opened his flagship restaurant, Fusion 9, leading to 19 outlets across Hyderabad, Chennai, and Delhi.
Yes.
Mr. Krishnamurthy's catering portfolio includes prestigious events like the Global Citizen Festival in Mumbai and high-profile dinners for Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the National Police Academy in Hyderabad. He has also collaborated with renowned chef Gary Mehigan and featured in series Masters of Taste 2. Mr. Krishnamurthy runs an online academy offering e-books like the $1 Cookbook since May 2021. As a core management member of NRAI, National Restaurant Association of India, his latest project, Book My Chef, an on-demand chef and hospitality services platform, is set to launch in December 2023.
I love it.
Welcome, Mr. Shankar Krishnamurthy.
It is with immense pleasure that I now invite our chairperson, Ms. Ritu Shah, and our guests, Mr. Vikas Khanna and Mr. Shankar Krishnamurthy, on the dais for felicitation.
Hello, hello.
I now invite our chairperson, Ms. Ritu Shah, to address the gathering.
Thank you.
I know nobody wants to listen to anything right now other than Vikas, I think so. So I'll just take one moment and I will just
So sorry. The flight.
I will just introduce, we all know what flow is, but probably, I just need to do 2 lines for Vikas to know what flow is. So very good evening, ladies. Apologies for the delay, but I think so all your things are got sorted as Vikas is here with us now. So Vikas' journey, what introduction she gave, I would like to just say a few lines. Vikas' journey from the bylanes of Amritsar to the bustling streets of New York is commendable. What resonates Flo's spirit is his unyielding commitment to societal welfare. From fostering his small dream of owning a small AC hotel to building a great Kinara in Dubai. From learning the art at home to presenting the art at the White House. Someone who has revolutionized eating habits, who has taken risks again and again and again. A Michelin star chef and a host of MasterChef India. Welcome, Vikas Khanna. I have just cut my speech to 20%, okay? So, because your presence today has already ignited a profound sense of inspiration within us, and we eagerly wait the wisdom you will impart to us today, which we are confident will leave us wholly inspired. To teach is great, but to inspire is divine, as said by Vikas Khanna. Thank you so much.
Welcome, Chef. Welcome to Hyderabad.
Absolute honor sitting next to you, Shankar.
Yeah, you and me are completely outnumbered here. Yeah, so let's start. Have a few questions, your views on it. Indian cuisine today is as hot as the Indian cricket team at the current World Cup, right? You've been a brilliant ambassador taking it abroad. How do you foresee that your role further, so how we make it popular as the Chinese and the Italian cuisines across the globe?
I'm mostly America-centric in my profession. मुझे लगता है कि एक चीज़ की जो कमी मुझे गैप नज़र आ रहा है बहुत बड़ा, it's my next flagship restaurant in New York, which is that we need to combine, incorporate culture and cuisine. Cuisine by itself is just a very small aspect of our culture, and I feel that I need to bring in more forms of our architecture, more forms of our cultural heritage, festivals, rituals, our costumes, our textiles. I need to have one space in New York which becomes a platform for upgrowing Indian artists, established artists, and people who want to be inspired by India. मुझे लगता है वो गैप अगर मैं फिल कर पाऊँगा अगले साल तो जय माता दी. So I just feel that that can leverage. I just think that what आप जैसे आप कह रहे थे introduce किया, I feel I just get way too much credit I don't deserve. There were so many brilliant chefs before me. I just happened to be at the right place at the right time in New York when things were shifting for Indian cuisine. And we are proud of it that when it was not even mentioned, you know, you know more than anyone. When we were studying, our college has pictures of only Caucasian and white chefs, which was always heartbreaking for me because I come from the family of freedom fighters. और मुझे लगता था उन्हें क्यों पेट्रोनाइज करें, हम कम हैं. और ये मेरी बात जो थी कम में तो सबका चुप करके बैठ जानी चाहिए. So I used to say, no, we should be able to enough that we have every international award for our country's name. You know, what we win globally, it's not for us or families or cities. It's a very big accreditation for a nation because you always said, I'm an Indian every time they announce you. So मुझे लगता है कि small steps, but absolutely the food is being refined and refined. We have, in 2000 when I moved to US, Indian exports of spices was $6 million and last year it was $2.6 billion. For somebody who says that Indian food is not having that impression, I would say you need to see the numbers, what's happening. You've never had Indian chefs win the James Beard Award for Best Chefs in New York. 18,000 restaurants in Manhattan mein. Usme now the top chef is Chintan Pandya, who used to work with me years ago, and which was never ever the possibility, you know. We used to have the list of Vanity Fair, like the most credible journalists, then it has to be Indian chef, okay. So ठीक है, कभी-कभी फ़ायदा होता है पंजाबी होने का. Some days you get a benefit, I know that. But it's not true. I was mostly trained in South. You see the shift happening, which is massive. And I think we just need to encourage more and more young kids to expertise in Indian cuisine. Majority of us want to learn more about the French. Absolutely. I was trained in Paris. I learned French cuisine. But आप एक लड़के को ambassador या लड़की को ambassador बनाना चाहते हैं country के, they should know about your country, their cuisine. It is वहाँ पे जो आपका gap है वो बहुत बड़ा है. बहुत मुश्किल होता है हम लोगों के लिए बड़े रेस्टोरेंट्स खोल के इंडियन शेफ्स जो इंडियन खाने के मास्टर्स हों, बहुत मुश्किल मिलते हैं यंग बच्चे. But it's changing. We just opened a culinary center. It's costed more than 40 crore rupees in Manipal, which is just dedicated to celebration and preservation of Indian food, which is my mission to create a generation of Indian Michelin star chefs who will come after us, but at least every part of the world, you will have one chef who will be holding Indian flag. That is the influence, not making it so cheap, but everything is like takeaway Chinese food. Nothing is wrong with that. But I feel that the prestige and the, आप म्यूजियम में जाते हो तो वो अनोखी चीज़ें देखते हो जो और दुनिया में कहीं नहीं दिखती. So I feel Indian food should also leverage to the most sophisticated cuisine and the best dining experiences.
Which is happening now. You know, the restaurant industry is such a tough industry. The survival rate is less than 10% by the second year. So how do you sustain and be excellent at the same time?
Things have changed a lot post-pandemic. You can order the same food in the comfort of your house. It's like theatre देखने के लिए जाने के लिए आपको ज़रूरत नहीं है. See, restaurants used to be an appointment booking, which is completely changed in the Western world, even in India. That you can order the same food. Every chef, for the survival instinct, they will have the food delivered to you without service charges, much cheaper in cost, and your paycheck. And waiters are not telling you, "Jaldi order karo, ye karna hai, pani piyo." Ghar ke comfort mein, watch a show, do anything, and you can order the food. But to make a restaurant successful, I say it has to be experiential. Today you want to go and feel a restaurant. What I want to do is that, I don't remember मेरी generation के कौन लोग हैं यहाँ पे, सब young लग रहे हैं बहुत मेरे को, कि एक movie आई थी हम आपके हैं कौन. तो I am so inspired by हम आपके हैं कौन. तब मैं छोटी छोटी किटी पार्टीज करता था, बच्चा था. So what I realized that it was a movie in theatre which became an experiential from people. My grandmom is saying, नहीं किटी पार्टी नहीं करेंगे, हम जाएंगे पिक्चर देखने. So I want to create a restaurant where people are dressed up as Indian, proud, ethnicities, everything. You divide the barricades between us and you say कि restaurant success का अब बहुत different level होगा. Because things have totally been mobilized to frozen foods and packaged foods and deliveries on Zomatos and seamless web. So I just feel कि अब chefs को बहुत creatively सोचना पड़ेगा बड़ा restaurant आगे रखने के लिए. I hope you agree of that things have totally changed in the last 4 years.
Absolutely, yeah. Your philanthropy is so well known, it's phenomenal, right? So how do you, what advice would you give to people who are influencing the industry today in the food and beverage, that how can they go and follow the footsteps and give back to the society?
मैं मम्मा से बहुत डरता हूँ. I'll be honest with you. I'm an extremely busy person. People who write books, they only write books, right? Cookbooks. People who write fiction, they are only writing fiction. Kids book section के अलग लोग होते हैं, वो सिर्फ वही लिखते हैं. Restaurants जो खोलते हैं वो अलग एक breed है. जो कैफेज कर रहे हैं, जो टीवी कर रहे हैं, जो सोशल मीडिया पे हैं, वो अलग अलग ब्रीड्स हैं. मुझे सब कुछ करना है, मुझे ये प्रॉब्लम है. और तब मैं मम्मा से बहुत डरता हूँ. मम्मा कहते नहीं, कर रहा है तो सब कुछ तो हमने तेरे को सिखाया, यू हैव टू डू इट फॉर इंडिया. She always sets up a moral compass and I'm very proud of that. कि मम्मा के डर से करता हूँ मैं. मेरे अंदर I'll be honest. It's my mom who picked up the phone and told me you got to run a campaign for India because यहाँ पे खाने की problems हो रही है, old age homes में, orphanages में, leprosy centers में, जो लोग उस टाइम पे सोच भी नहीं रहे थे survival के लिए. So my thing only comes from my mom who says ये करना है. और मम्मा ने मुझे बोला था कि you got fortunate that you went abroad, you had एक बड़ी मेरी चमड़ी बहुत मोटी है मेरी, मुझे जितने मुझे डंडे वाले मुझे फ़र्क नहीं पड़ता, पर कहती है कि बहुत लोगों के लिए इंडिया में ट्रेनिंग चाहिए होगी. So that because of that we opened a museum. It started with that small thought कि our kids should be able to see कि हमारे पूर्वजों के बर्तन क्या थे, how the things have evolved now. Now everything is changing to stainless steel and bone china and ceramics, but India never used to eat like this. This is all the American or European influence. But for us to have a moment in history where you preserve all this, so that is a part of my philanthropy. I feel अगर है word ऐसा कुछ, but डर भी है. We are so small, tiny, that we'll disappear soon from this space. To leave a mark also, you need to, sometimes you feel that it has to be an important part of, and everybody can participate. You studied from your schools and colleges, you're privileged people sitting in this room. You think you cannot go back and open a classroom or open a recreation in your schools where you studied from? I don't agree on that. I don't agree. If somebody so humble background wala, we spent almost $4 million to make a museum. I could have donated that $4 million to the European or American institutes I studied in, but मुझे पता था इंडिया में impact इतना होगा. How many times the greatest universities we bow to in America, all our kids want to run there, from Harvard to Stanford to Columbia. Who made those universities? Not the trustees, alumni. Alumni built the greatest institutions when they came back. And how many of us actually go back? None. I feel कि वो trend होना चाहिए change कि इस college ने मुझे admission दी, इससे मेरा career शुरू हुआ. मैं ये नहीं कह रहा परसेंटेज दे दो अपनी रोज की अर्निंग्स की. आई एम नॉट सेइंग कि अपने विल दे दो उनके नाम पे, ये भी नहीं कह रहा मैं. बट इट्स आवर जॉब एज पीपल हु स्टडी फ्रॉम दोस कॉलेजेस to figure out a way to inspire the next generation, to support them in any way you can, from scholarship programs to do anything in the colleges. There's always a room for improvement. That is, all our kids are looking at the Western universities. Sorry, बड़ा emotional question था मेरे लिए. And I do feel honesty है इसमें जॉब में
I think in Hyderabad, the HPS school is a very strong alumni, and they're in fact celebrating the 100th year over the last 1 year. And they're doing a brilliant job about that. Yeah. And you were just coming from the MasterChef program, and in and out you are literally, you're a judge there. You've been seeing countless of people coming through. How do you pick up talent? How do you spot talent? And how do you think they have the potential?
असली जवाब के नकली जवाब?
नकली दे दो पहले.
नकली. नकली जवाब ये है, you know, I can see passion, I can see this. वो नकली है, कुछ नहीं है. We see the journey. मैंने एक बात नोट की है, जिस बच्चे में ज़्यादा भूख होती है ना, वो तड़पता है रिस्क लेने के लिए. कभी कभी छोटे शहरों से, छोटे घरों से जो बच्चे आते हैं, उनके चांसेस टू विन अ मिशेलिन स्टार and to win Olympic golds and to win the Oscars is much higher.
MS Dhoni.
और हम उनको डिसमिस कर जाते हैं. मैं उस साइड की नदी से आया हूँ, मुझे पता है कि मुझे पता है ये भी, पता नहीं कितने लोग, अगर मैं इमोशनल हो गया तो पंजाबी बोलना शुरू कर दूंगा मैं, which is like I have to be fair to the city I am in, but I do feel कि बहुत कम लोग उन बच्चों को अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलती है. और जब बच्चों को उनको अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलती है तो यू नो इट इन मास्टर शेफ़ की ऑडिशन की लाइन में जो खड़े हैं, क्योंकि लोग तो अपसेट हो जाते हैं, सर क्या मतलब है आपका, 2.5 घंटे से मैं खड़ी हूँ यहाँ पे खड़ा हूँ, व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय दिस. आपको पता है इनके लिए बहुत मुश्किल होगा वो तप करना. मेरी दादी की फेवरेट लाइन थी, भक्ति सर्वशक्ति, कि जितनी मर्जी आप कहो कि मेरे पर नेचुरल ब्लेसिंग्स हैं, आई हैव द रिचेस्ट पेरेंट्स, आई हैव अ रोल्स रॉयस, I have a big car, you know, कुछ नहीं वर्क करता, भक्ति से ऊपर कुछ नहीं है. And you know, I come from the land of the gurus, you know, जिनमें हमको एक ही चीज़ सिखाई जाती थी अमृतसर में, किर्त, कर सेवा, कर मेहनत, नहीं तेरे को लगता कुछ है तेरे पास. I always look for those kids in MasterChef, and अभी तक I can always in my mind, I'm not allowed to say that, I can predict कौन जीतेगा और कौन टॉप पे आएगा, जिसमें जज्बा होता है कि मैंने आगे बढ़ना है. You know, भूख बहुत ज़रूरी है.
True attitude is above knowledge, absolutely, yeah. Michelin restaurants, we keep reading, are shutting down. How viable are they? How do you manage to sustain and run a Michelin restaurant? And how are you able to hold on to it?
मेरे को एक बेनिफिट मिलता है जो बहुत लोग नहीं जानते यहाँ पे, इज़ दैट यू गेट अ बेनिफिट ऑफ फर्स्ट जनरेशन अमेरिकन्स, इंडियन अमेरिकन्स. एक मुझे बहुत लेवरेज है उसकी, क्योंकि उनके पेरेंट्स ने मुझे देखा है, देव सीन माई जर्नी, सो द किड्स नो मी. वो लेवरेजिंग के साथ ना एक मेरी ट्राइब बढ़ जाती है, कि उनको पता है कि अगर इंडिया पे डंडा पड़ता है या कम्युनिटी पे डंडा पड़ता है, सबसे पहले खड़ा हो जाएगा ये. देयर इज़ अ सर्टन ट्रस्ट. I know you're asking about the restaurant, but I will tell you also about what chefs stand for. I have never ever run a food business. मेरी grandmother से मुझे थप्पड़ पड़ता था, क्योंकि बीजी हमारे घर पे बिजनेस था हमारा, और मेरी दादी को बड़ा अजीब लगता था कि घर पे खाना बना के घर पे बेच रहे हैं और पैसे क्यों ले रहे हैं फिर. Right? It's a very logical ethos कि घर पे इतने लोग आते हैं, किट्टी पार्टी की टेबल लग गई. अब हम छोटा शहर था, सब जानते थे, तो बीजी कहते थे पुप्पू, मेरे पापा को पुप्पू खाना खुआया है, पैसे को लिए सी. तो पापा यूज्ड टू से दे आर नॉट योर गेस्ट, वो बिजनेस है आपका. एंड आई यूज्ड टू फाइंड दैट वेरी फनी कम्युनिकेशन, एंड दैट वेंट इन माई हेड. इट कैन नॉट बी जस्ट द फूड, इट कैन ऑल्सो बी द शेफ हु सेज दैट ये मेरा नैरेटिव है. I'm not here. I don't know if I really make money on the restaurants, I'll be honest with you, because you know it's a very tough business जो आपने कहा है. But ऊपर वाला जो बैठा है उसने मुझे और भी बहुत सारे जगह पे बहुत किस्मत दी है कि restaurant becomes my place where I see watch families get together. मैंने वो बहुत अपना ethos रखा हुआ है अपने दिल में कि restaurant cannot be a place which cannot be just a transaction. कि वो restaurants, when you're talking about to be the greatest, at least to hope to be the greatest in the world, and I'm 52, and for me, constantly finding ways to evolve Indian cuisine and a dining experience, I always have to figure out it's about the people.
The soul.
It is only about the people. हमारे पास कभी कभी लोग आते हैं. I remember, never forget, there was a 90th birthday of a woman from Toronto or Calgary, and they had all flown in their grandmom. उसने कहा मुझे ना ये अपना लगता है. ये जब हंसता है तो मुझे लगता है मैं जीती हूँ, और जब कभी कभी टीवी पे ये नर्वस हुआ है, इमोशनल हुआ था, तो मुझे लगता है मैं हार रही हूँ. Like somebody sitting in Calgary, all her life she's worked for a family to. जब जो उनको पूछा गया कि कहाँ जाना है, कहते उसके रेस्टोरेंट जाना है. So they all flew in. That time I was running Junoon, and it just broke my heart. And of course I have my break moment. Restaurant की सर्विस में मैं 5-6 बार रो ही पड़ता हूँ. I'm like, ये कैसा शेफ है आपका? मैं क्या, मैं नहीं रोता, लोग मुझे रुलाते हैं. ये बता के कि उस दिन हम वहाँ देखा था, तेरे को इतने साल हो गए, generations हो गए. I've been doing this for 40 years. This 4 decades, imagine. 4 decades of dedication towards Indian cuisine and figuring out. अब मैं बोलता हूँ, it is never going to be about food. जो शेफ सोचते हैं it's about food, it is not going to be about food.
Vikas, I'll ask you one thing. When I've been following you since many years, okay?
अब ये बोल दो बचपन से देख रही.
नहीं बचपन से नहीं. Thank you. I will take it as a compliment. So I've been following you since many years, and I always saw the glamour part of your business, about your profession, your passion. But recently I got to see a documentary, Buried Seeds. Okay, and trust me, anybody who's not seen Buried Seeds, that is on Vikas Khanna, must watch for you all to know what a human he is. And आप रो रहे हो, हम भी रो पड़े थे. Okay, I literally cried when I saw Buried Seeds 4-5 times, and that is where I connected with you, probably on a human point of view. Okay, so I know that you're a very humble and a great human, Vikas, and thank you for being that, and thank you to represent India that way in America. So Vikas, few tips probably. We have amongst us, a lot of our members are also into food industry, and you just mentioned it is not about food.
No.
So you tell me.
It is not just about food.
It's not just about food, but I think so post-pandemic you've also seen a lot of women, a lot of people get into homegrown businesses,
Absolutely.
food businesses.
Honor them.
So what is that time when you get really serious about your passion, that you can change it into business and profession, and you turn towards entrepreneurship? So what is that moment? And it's okay. Yeah.
अच्छा नहीं लगेगा ना फोटो में.
So what advice, or what would you tell those members here amongst us?
I have seen a whole new growth of an industry where.
But you also need to tell me about Buried Seeds. I really want to
मुझे
hear.
लगा भूल गए बोल के.
नहीं.
So a Russian-American filmmaker, he was following me for many years. तो उसने बोला, and they decided to go to Amritsar, my city of birth. When they met my mom, they said, we're going to make a documentary out of this. It was a very big documentary in the Western Circle. Venice International Film Festival premiered it. It's about not giving up. वही आंसर है आपका second question का, कि the home cooks, the home bakers, the people who are starting food business from home, they have low cost, I understand. But to create a volume of what you do, to get consistency when you start hiring people, this is all a very heavy, it's a circle. आप hire कर लेते हो लोग और काम नहीं है. You're talking to somebody who started a business with his mom and grandmom. तो हमारी labor cost almost zero ही थी. Right? But एक महीना कुछ पार्टी नहीं होती थी. How do you maintain that overheads? It is very easy said than done. और जब orders आते हैं तो एकदम इतने सारे orders, right? It is not easy, but एक चीज़ work करती है उनके लिए. For people who say that I'm going to be planned, there's going to be rough and tough in this, but I'm going to figure out a way to create a brand where people can be patient with me and they'll work with me. I just think वो relationship बहुत ज़रूरी होता है छोटे businesses के लिए. And that is why I feel that it is so important for everyone who starts a small business. Pandemic के time पे बहुत people opened satellite kitchens. 60% somebody was telling me shut down. Yeah. Because sustain करना मुश्किल होता है. Especially when it's run by women. And it is much more difficult. I have my next movie coming out with Shabana Azmi, where she's a failed chef in New York. उनके ऊपर कहानी है. And where I talk about how difficult it is for women in food industry. मेरी मम्मा के लिए कितना मुश्किल था इस इंडस्ट्री में काम करना. कैसे लोग डिसरिस्पेक्ट करते हैं, डिसऑनर करते हैं, टेक दैट वुमेन फॉर ग्रांटेड, पैसा नहीं देंगे, ये नहीं करेंगे, बुली करते हैं. आई हैव सीन एवरीथिंग. अरे ये गलत था, वो आदमी के सामने जो ना इट इज समथिंग एल्स. एंड आई वाज अ किड, आई वाज वेरी स्किनी, और ऊपर से मम्मा को लोग गालियाँ निकाल रहे हैं, तो बहुत मुझे अजीब लगता था. तो मुझे पता है कि जो घर में काम कर रहे हैं कितना मुश्किल है उनके लिए सस्टेन करना. आई नो दिस वीडियो इज being recorded. For those people who are hearing me, is don't give up. There's so much of power in food. And I've saw my mother and grandmom struggle to raise me around food. बहुत कम लोगों की किस्मत होती है इनके घर के सामने गोल्डन टेम्पल होता है. बहुत कम लोगों को एक नई दिशा दिखती है खाने की, एक नया दिखता है खाने की सेवा और भाव दिखता है. बहुत कम. बट अगर हम नहीं बात करेंगे who have been so fortunate in this, तो बहुत मुश्किल होगा उन लोगों के लिए to say that you are doing great, just keep going.
Kitchen is madness in a restaurant I'm talking about, back of the house, and we all are crazy. The heat, the pressures, everything.
मैं बोलूँगा बहुत ही.
So the question here is, what is the toughest situation you faced and how did you come out of it?
The toughest situation has to be manpower, toughest. And you're also talking about America, where people can sue you for breathing because you were breathing. होता है. A woman sued her husband because he was snoring. You're breathing, you're sued. But बहुत मुश्किल है manpower industry, manpower intensity है इसमें, especially when you're talking about Michelin star level restaurant where एक dish के at least minimum 3 components हैं. तो बहुत ज़्यादा coordination, like talking about high pressure, and I also charge the top-notch dollars, so you have to justify that with services, everything. So manpower controlling is a very tough job of a restaurant industry. I know that, and I will always say that it's a manpower industry. It's the people who make it or people who break it. Which we have a whole team standing here. They know that chefs की सबसे मुश्किल manpower संभालनी है. Because people also come with a baggage of emotions. Every day is not the same for them back home. किसी की बीवी के साथ लड़ाई हुई तो किसी के husband के साथ. When they come, the food has to be consistent. You get a Michelin star, one of the first things they check is the inspectors will keep coming back to your restaurant to check the consistency. तो उसमें ये नहीं हो सकता भाई आज तो दिल नहीं कर रहा. But बहुत मुश्किल, ये part मुझे इंडस्ट्री का बहुत मुश्किल है.
What does Vikas Khanna eat? What is your comfort food?
मैं बहुत ही ज़्यादा ग्राम्स गिन के खाता हूँ खाना. मैं बिल्कुल शुगर नहीं खाता, unless I'm paid very high. Just kidding. सब कुछ खाता हूँ. But I also have a very disciplined lifestyle because since I moved to America, one thing which constantly came on my face again and again is Indian food is very unhealthy, very greasy, very unhygienic. वो एक misinformation widespread है in American media, which influences people. जो आपने कहा, when does it become the third? It's the third fastest growing cuisine in America. When does it become the first? It's because we have to fight the misnomers, and exceptions can't fight it, but we have to tell our story through exceptions. This is the only cuisine which is based on the principles of medicinal research like Ayurveda.
Absolutely, yeah.
Who the hell? What goes, how much goes, when goes, why goes, what is that? Does any cuisine has that? No. Does any cuisine have such a ritualistic approach to food and also to the seasons? I know we are moving very fast towards the West, but if you take a break and pause, everything which is going in the food is a form of medicine. Our kitchens are our dispensaries. Which other cuisine? But you need to be in a position to talk about that outside, alive, active, in shape. So I do that as a tribute. So when I do it as a nahi, ये मेरा agenda का हिस्सा है to showcase the world that how healthy Indian food is. You have cuisines. Jain cuisine really inspires me. I don't know why. I'm like, I don't even, being a Punjabi, I can't even think without onion and garlic cooking. Right? But look at this, once you eat in the house, you're like, I'm not missing anything. So vegetarian cuisine of India is supreme. It's sophisticated, it's minimalistic, it's healthy. I remember I was sitting with Virat Kohli and I'm asking him about his vegetarian. He says, every time I was eating vegetarian food, I realized my body has no inflammation in the morning.
Absolutely, yeah.
And we have to
What
go out and
Ayurvedic
promote
food talks about.
Yeah.
Attacking inflammation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talking about food, especially now, the current trend is the Indian chef, Indian cuisine as such. Everybody's going back to the roots.
Absolutely.
Right? So, tradition and authenticity, how do you marry it with innovation?
बहुत मुश्किल है, बहुत मुश्किल है. People dismiss you very soon. People say कि ये तो authentic है ही नहीं. You know, they're not going to be naming things too much. फिर बाद में बहुत जूते पड़ते हैं जो लोग देखते हैं. ये नहीं बोला था तेरे को. मैं कहता हूँ यही आपका मतलब था. So what happens is that the world, majority of the world restaurants, when you travel abroad, I'm sure everybody's privileged here in that way, you only see a representation of a North Indian Punjabi cuisine, right? When I go to a restaurant, I don't have to see the menu. I know, मैं menu बोल सकता हूँ, अभी बोलना शुरू करूँ, पनीर टिक्का, चिकन टिक्का, तंदूरी चिकन, right? उसके बाद समोसे, समोसा फर्स्ट, and और नाम बड़े अच्छे देते हैं हम, flaky pastry, pyramid, stuffed with spiced potatoes. क्या? ये क्या है? पहले मैं समोसा. अभी I'm going to be making for you round dumpling stuffed with exotic Indian spices. Kachori! You know, it's a part of communication, but I do feel that it is little difficult when you have to push things forward because people are trained just to enjoy. और main courses शुरू होंगे साग पनीर, मलाई कोफ्ता, चिकन टिक्का मसाला, दाल मखनी, दाल तड़का, नान, गार्लिक नान, तंदूरी रोटी और खाने में desserts में रस मलाई, मलाई कोफ्ता, गुलाब जामुन. That's it on kulfi, right? But you know, you're also talking about Punjabis were the first immigrants to the world. And then they saved money, they started an Indian restaurant. We have to honor those who came before us. We have to honor them. And we have to also respect and give a vision to the ones who are going to come after us. So for me, that innovation part is, we are the middle ones. We have to show them the classical trained cook, chefs, the way we cook, and also to show that we are way superior than the Western chefs.
Now the current trend now is also a lot of Tamilian restaurants, South Indian restaurants springing all over Michelin stars in US. So that's phenomenal.
Vijay is the first South in running first South SEMA in New York. And when the list was announced, it was like 2:30 in the night. I was crying like a baby. I'm like, yes, yes. और मैं उनको वीडियो कॉल कर रहा हूँ, वो लोग भी रो रहे हैं. शेफ, हमको पता था किसी का फोन आएगा कि नहीं, आपका फोन आएगा. जिस टाइम आप सुनोगे कि आप रो रहे होगे हमारी तरह. I'm like, that is the beauty. I know all these boys who are doing it, and I know how hard it is. When I started, when I didn't keep chicken tikka masala in my first menu draft, many people would walk away. What kind of restaurant is this? I'm like, listen, we have this sorrel leaves, which is Hyderabadi actually. खट्टी पालक जो आपकी आती है स्प्रिंग में, यू नो, मार्च एंड टू अप्रैल एंड, बेस्ट वही होती है. मैंने कहा ये रखते हैं, ठीक है, गोश्त के साथ होती है, मैं चिकन के साथ कर देता हूँ, बिकॉज इट्स मोर एक्सेप्टेबल मीट चॉइस इन अमेरिका. एंड पीपल वर लाइक, नो, दिस इज़ नॉट इंडियन. आई एम लाइक, ओ माई गॉड. मैं आपको भी गिनती करवाऊँ, कोरमा यहाँ का टोटली डिफरेंट है. अ कंट्री वेयर द क्यूजीन इज़ 100 times bigger and more complex than Europe, it's India. But the moment you introduce a new dish, it becomes very difficult. Innovation का वो हिस्सा आता है.
And educating them, making them accept that
But अब क्या
taste and flavors.
Social media is, chef, you know, I'm going to be honest. Social media has really helped me. पता लग जाता बीच में पंजाबी आ जाती है. But it's really helped me to push narratives. I just went to Odisha. I don't know if there's anybody from Odisha here. I just had this amazing dahi bara aloo dum. I just posted the recipe. I have more than 16 restaurants who are put in the menu around the world.
Wow.
आपने सिर्फ बताइए एक dish, because you know we take the power of social media to constantly expand people's idea of Indian food.
Yeah. Tell us about your experience of cooking in the White House, the protocols.
White House की protocols इतनी मुश्किल नहीं थी क्योंकि they were managing the service. Protocols were hardest when President Obama का re-election campaign I was hosting. Oh my God. You cannot have, and you know, they must have sent emails, but you know, you're so busy with protocol. आपका दिमाग पूरा confused था. You can't have any glass. President is about to come in 2 hours. और मुझे वो जो चेक करने के लिए कहते शेफ वी सेंड यू ऑल द प्रोटोकॉल्स मैं क्या हाँ इनबॉक्स पे होंगी आई एम नॉट सपोज टू रीड देम मैं तो वही सुनता हूँ जो मुझे सुनना होता है वी नो ग्लासेस नो स्टेनलेस स्टील्स इन दिस काइंड ऑफ गैदरिंग वेयर प्रेसिडेंट इज गोना मिंगल विद एवरीवन वो लास्ट मिनट रिमूवल एंड दैट होल लोगों के हाथ से ग्लास खींच रहे हैं हम लोग कि भाई वापस कर दो You're supposed to give, you know, it's a whole different problem. And it was my mistake, I missed it, and I really got nervous. I got really nervous because, you know, world cameras on, कि पहली बार हो रहा है कि Indian खाना, but I didn't serve Indian food. Indian था, Himalayan belt से मैंने खाना सर्व किया था, तिब्बत, नेपाल, भूटान, बर्मा, नॉर्थ पाकिस्तान, लद्दाख, कश्मीर, वो खाने सर्व किए थे. तो वो तो सब चल रहा था, उसमें इतना इन्वॉल्व हो गया, I did not understand the protocols. It was very hard that day, I remember.
Well, India has also some serious protocols. When I was catering to PM Modi at the National Police Academy, so they set up a chemical lab in your kitchen.
Yeah, they do that.
There are 3 samples taken out. The first sample is eaten by a dog, second sample is eaten by me, and the third sample is kept for 72 hours. So the chef's job doesn't end with when the dinner service is over. You have to wait for another 48 hours, 72 hours to breathe, right?
Sir, मेरी ना कुत्तों में जान है. मुझे किसी से डील नहीं करना, मुझे कुत्ते ला दो लाइफ में. मेरा बेस्ट फ्रेंड कुत्ता है छोटा सा. But sorry, वो मेरे लिए बड़ा ऑनर का काम होता है when I'm cooking for dogs. But it's true that the protocols are heavy. When we were doing PM's dinner a few years back for UN Assembly, protocols vary from the kind of leadership they belong to. When we were doing food for the Pope Francis, so they took all the food and then we don't know what happened. So you're not allowed to go inside. We don't know. We cooked everything, sampled, everything was done. They took it inside. We don't know what was. But with जैसे PM Modi का था, उनका तो protocols were heavy duty in America. It's a good question. People don't know how hard it is actually.
Yeah,
and the pressure they put on you.
Yeah. There was no sleep. So there was no sleep for at least the previous week of planning and plus during those 70 to 80, 96 hours.
So we had 118 chefs feeding 50 people. 118 शेफ्स लगे थे. मेन्यू इतना मुश्किल मैंने कर दिया था. अपने शो अप वो जो होता है ना, पहले कर लो बाद में सोचो कर क्या रहे हो आप. मतलब इतना elaborate menu मैंने कर दिया था. It became we needed that discipline in the kitchen by counter, and there were so many dietary restrictions. Those formats were difficult. That's
yeah, absolutely.
I think so. We can now go, and see the demonstration now and how
Yes,
complex
let's
it
go.
is. Yeah, and I think so. You can take the questions also while you're doing it, and
okay.
so.
Hi. We always keep nimbu pani niche, no sugar, no salt. जब massive tastings होती हैं, so when I came to Hyderabad for auditions, that time we tasted around back to back 1,000 dishes.
Oh.
1,000. No, that's very less. In Delhi, I've gone up to I think 2,500, 3,000. I've done those. पर बीच में कोई कुत्ता नहीं आता पहले के जो टेस्ट करेगा. मैं मर भी सकता हूँ. ये मुझे लड़का अच्छा नहीं लगता, डालो इसमें जहर खाने में. It has never happened. I have to take that faith, but I do keep nimbu pani because I also have a very blessed or a cursed nose where I can smell things very far. तो उससे प्रॉब्लम भी होती है मेरे को. और some days you have to also see के people have brought things with so much love, so you have to take a full and they're watching you. क्या पूरा आप थोड़ा सा नहीं पूरा लड्डू खाओ. I'm like बस थोड़ा सा टेस्ट नहीं मैं बना के आई हूँ अपने हाथों से and then you're doing even at the airports. So people know the show खत्म हो रहा है, you're leaving. Once we had people at the airports who had brought in food in Ahmedabad. I'm like, how am I supposed to eat this? And the guy said, "Sir, दिल टूट जाएगा, खा लो सबका." मैं कहा भैया ये 8 किलो खाना खा लूँगा मैं. It's a good question. I was very moved by a Holi in Vrindavan. I was very moved. I was very broken by it. मैं वृंदावन में एक बुक में शूट कर रहा था जो आपने बताया, जिसका जिक्र किया, उत्सव किताब. अब एक्चुअली वो इन्फॉर्मेशन गलत है. उत्सव सबसे महंगी किताब नहीं है, अब वो सेकंड महंगी किताब है. सबसे महंगी किताब है मेरी सेक्रेड फूड्स ऑफ इंडिया. वो $50,000 की है, 1 copy. So when I was exploring Utsav, so I was shooting Holi, and as I left the Banke Bihari temple, I saw a lot of widows, and it really broke my heart. मैं तो गया था रिसर्च करने उनके लड्डुओं के ऊपर, इतने बड़े लड्डू, पर मेरा दिल एक विडो पे आ गया वहाँ पे. She must be 90 years old, and she was all in white while everybody was drenched in color. It really broke my heart, and I wrote a short story which was never got published in New York Times or New Yorker. Yeah.
We'll just take a couple of minutes.
And then I wrote a movie to change the law in America, and that they should be mandate at the UN, at the Congress in Washington DC. There should be mandates for empowerment, and there should be law for disownership of widows of properties. So I really go far. When I get passionate about something, my heart is totally into it. And I told that to my sister, and she loved the story. And then it became like I became the first chef in the world to write fiction. वो बुक कितनी चल पड़ी है, मैं कहा लोग पागल तो नहीं है, मतलब वाओ, fiction इतनी चल पड़ी. Then we got Neena Gupta, and we made a movie, and the movie went to almost 100 festivals. Everywhere we were getting awards. I'm like, and people were telling Neena Gupta, आपने गलत विकास खन्ना को टैग किए, फिल्म नहीं बनाते. Neena Gupta कहती ठहरो अभी, ठहरो ज़रा. So I do it because I feel that movies and documentaries have so much of leveraging power. You can change people's perception. मैं जल्दी कुछ भूलता नहीं हूँ, especially जब मेरे पे scar आता है. I wait, I pause, I think of a bigger scheme. Wisconsin गुरुद्वारा में 2008 में Sikhs were killed, 5 Sikhs. वो मेरे खंजर लगा था मेरे अंदर. वो जब Sikhs were killed in Wisconsin गुरुद्वारा in US, I made a documentary called Holy Kitchens to make the world understand what Sikhism is through langars. And that documentary did amazing favor in Ivy League colleges. We also screened at the White House. Also, they invited me to Oxford. खाने की पहचान जो है वो एक कल्चरल जो है खाना, वो हमारा फेथ उसमें बहुत ज़्यादा उसका हिस्सा है वो. And that is why we did Islam, we did Hinduism, we did Buddhism, we got Dalai Lama to do a documentary. मतलब मैं कुछ नहीं कर रहा, मतलब मैं वो हूँ कि जो उसको धक्का पड़ता है वो अंदर चला आता है और आग से बच्चा उठा के ले आता है. But then you feel कि धक्का मारा किसने. I just feel that it evolved over time, and I love to take risks. जब डंडे पड़ते हैं बड़ा मज़ा आता है, तब आप कहते हो वेट करो, something stronger is coming.
We all have a lot of questions for Mr. Khanna today. If we can first see the Master Chef in action before we take a few more questions. I'm sure once we see his techniques of cooking, we'll have plenty of more questions to ask.
Try. Okay, so generally when people are making pastry, like savory pastry, people make one type of dough to make a pastry, right? We make samosas, we have gujia kind of things. We also have so much stuff in Telangana where we do Diwali ke liye. For Diwali we do this, like, which is almost like a gujia only, stuffed with coconut and jaggery and everything. So what I do is that I love to make 2 types of doughs. One is a dough which is based in fat, and one is a dough which is based on water. I know this sounds a little awkward, no leavening, nothing, right? So we're going to start with making a dough which is of fat. फैट का मतलब ये होता है कि हम यूज़ करते हैं ठंडा मक्खन या ठंडा फैट कोई भी. उसका रीज़न ये होता है कि जब when we make a moin means a mixture of just trying to incorporate butter or any fat into flour. it turns into something like breadcrumbs, almost like breadcrumbs, which is also, I've seen there's a dish here in Hyderabad where they cook just whole wheat, like almost like suji with ghee, and then they add little sugar in the end, right? It's like almost like chura, what we have with dry fruits. So something like that is going to turn into, and then I'm going to add water to make a dough. Now this dough have a total different kind of, रेडी ना दिखाना, वो दिखाना उनको दिखाना रेडी रेडी तो जादू के साथ तो आ ही जाएगा वो, considering how much time. Can I take this jacket off? Is it okay? I'm going to get told you're too skinny. शुरू करते हैं, because we are going to have this. Okay. So what we do is we take two types of doughs. One is the fat dough. So the moment you have fat in dough and then you refrigerate this, when you subject it to heat, the water inside this fat, makhan mein jo pani hota hai, that turns into steam. That steam makes the dough rise. No leavening agent, nothing. So that is where the true crust comes from. But then, why do you need the water dough? Water, experientially, is amazing to create those layers. I learned this in Japan, and I tried to apply to Indian stuff. So what we're going to do, we're going to have all-purpose flour, आपका मैदा. If you want, you can also do this. Just add little bit of half of this and add half of any kind of millet flour. Colors would change. All-purpose flour. आपका आटा, you can change that also. I haven't tried this recipe with chawal ka atta, but I'm sure if you add all-purpose flour and chawal ka atta, it will work perfectly. But you need gluten, which comes from all-purpose flour. They can see it? Everybody can see this? No. So this is a very important thing. First you drench the flour in this. You can see what's going on. Thoda salt dal do, chef ji. You see that? So what is happening? You have to be very careful when you do this, because your heat in your hand is going to destroy this. Trust me. That is actually, तो हम कहते हैं कि ठंडे हाथों के लोग अच्छे पेस्ट्री शेफ बनते हैं, यानी कि ठंडे कंट्रीज के लोग होते हैं, हमारा खून गर्म है, symbolically. So what happens now? This is your, but what thing I've learned is your palm is colder than your fingers. So what you take it and then you do this. You can see the incorporation of flour into this. Generally, this is going to be almost the same ratios. And now you add the water. मैं आपको पूरी रेसिपी अभी लगा दूंगा ताकि तो इजी, मैं इसकी रेसिपी में लगा दूंगा आपको उसके ऊपर अपने इंस्टाग्राम पोस्ट जो आप लोगों के साथ लगाऊंगा. I'll put the recipe so everybody is relaxed and just enjoying this. So you can see one thing. This was lightly salted butter. I did add butter. Now, please don't rush this, because it will take time for this dough to come together. And the true power of this dough is that you cover it and you leave it to rest. That is where the gluten starts to work. You might think it's not coming together. आपको लग रहा है कि टूट रहा है. It's because of too much of fat in it. But don't worry, the fat is really delicious. So I just like to do this because anything I do now is going to melt the butter. The moment this starts happening, the butter is melting. So we're going to be very nice to this dough. We're going to cover it and leave it to rest. We cover it. एक मिनट टिश्यू दे दो. Sorry, this is a very quick. We have to move fast. I know everybody's been waiting. Everybody knows what is this? खोल बच्चे सारे फॉल्स खोल. कलकेशिया, परफेक्ट. सो ये हमारे 2 फ्लेवर्स हैं जो इस हमारी कचौड़ी में जाएंगे. कचौड़ी मैंने बोला है टू मेक थिंग्स ईजियर फॉर यू. एंड दिस इज आवर डो. सेकेंड डो इज you can see after it rests and there's a way to deal with this. ये बहुत नखरे वाला है, बहुत ड्रामे वाला है. मैंने कहा है ये आपके फॉरेन रिटर्न कजन्स हैं. So, जूते पड़ने हैं मेरे को कभी. So what I have learned is that pressing it like this helps to get the gluten to the right point. मेरी मम्मा खाएंगे मेरा खाना कहते इतना नखरा क्यों करता है? But I do feel that we have to elevate our cuisine without losing its flavors, understanding the techniques of it. Now what has happened after you maslo, this is not a good table for me, but absolutely. अभी मैं इसको कर रहा हूँ क्योंकि मैं right now our challenge is to get the gluten perfectly right. This is our challenge right now. Gluten is what makes maida maida. Elasticity which is happening right now, ये जो elasticity है, ये किस लिए हो रही है? Gluten की वजह से. ये देखो, right? But we have to be very careful because this is very moody. क्योंकि this can become very stringy. So you do it, एक बार फिर से करेंगे हम, और फिर हम इसको यहाँ रख देंगे. क्योंकि अब हमने ग्लूटन इसका जो है पूरा एक्टिवेटेड है. आई नो आई एम रशिंग थिंग्स बिकॉज इट शुड बी इफ यू डू दिस इन रियल टाइम दिस शुड हाफ आवर्स. एंड देन वी गोना डू द सेकंड डो विच इज वाटर बेस्ड डो. वाटर बेस्ड डो में हम डालेंगे हमारा राइट हम इसको नाइफ रख दे लड़ाई हो जाएगी. We are also using shakarkandi, but we are also using purple potato ka color. Now that looks very strange, right? Purple potato ka rang. But if you have purple potatoes, you can use that. It's an amazing starch. Purple potato ka rang is gold for us. So we're going to do the second dough. एक हमारा ये dough है, बच्चे ये संभाल दे हमारा. So you see how the whole thing is about, if I need to create those layers which I'll show you later, you will say everything is about this. We're going to boil this, we're going to make a filling out of this, and we can also use this, chop this. This is what is happening here. We have a combination of these two, जो हमारी filling का हिस्सा ही है. Now we're going to start working on our dough, which is our purple dough. उसके लिए हम मैदा यूज़ करेंगे. This purple dough जो मैं बना रहा हूँ, ये अंदर पानी का डो. उसमें आपको बहुत एक इंटरेस्टिंग चीज़ दिखेगी, which is going to be very interesting for you. थोड़ा सा नमक. You got to season every layer. You have to season every. पानी डाल देगा बच्चे. For people who are thinking I'm making a complicated dish, it's just a little. थोड़ा सा पानी और थोड़ा सा. इसमें कोई आप फैट नहीं डालेंगे क्योंकि ये आपकी सेपरेशन लेयर होगी. ये आपकी लेयर्स को सेपरेट करेगा. जो आपकी लेयर्स होंगी वो मक्खन से भरपूर, ये आपको सेपरेट करेगा. थोड़ा सा. And trust me, there is no easy way to do this except for doing this. ये जो हमारा डो है, यू माइट थिंक के पर्पस नहीं है इसका कोई, राइट? कुछ भी नहीं किया हमने मैदा लिया, उसमें हमने पर्पल पोटैटो का पाउडर डाला जो मिलता है अमेज़ॉन पे. आई एम नॉट बीइंग पेड बाय अमेज़ॉन टू से दैट, बट इट्स वेरी कन्वीनियंट. बट दिस इज व्हाट इट इज गोइंग टू बी. एंड वंस दिस रेस्ट, this turns to something which is very interesting. which turns to our multiple layer of fat. अगर आप चाहते हैं तो आप उल्टा भी कर सकते हैं, आपकी जो फैट की लेयर है उसको आप पर्पल कर सकते हैं, कम करें, और जो पानी की लेयर है उसको आप प्लेन कर सकते हैं. You can just do the opposite also, it doesn't matter, because eventually we are trying to reach here. Right? This is our reaching point. अब क्या करेंगे? We'll start layering our dough and our filling बनाने की ज़रूरत है फटाक. अच्छा, इसकी filling जो है I'm going to leave it because I know we are already very late. Filling जो है you can put any filling what you want. If you want to do a filling of coconut, jaggery, cardamom, which is very common, you want a filling of bananas, you can do that. But you remember one thing, that bananas have to be overcooked, overripe, over dry. आपको लगेगा वो भी आप बहुत ज़्यादा आपकी ब्रेड्स भी हैं और स्वीट्स में इसमें बनाना जाता है. You do lot of these things in Hyderabad also. You steam चावल के आटे की base, give it a layer, and then again cover it. There's so many different things in हल्दी के पत्तों में जो आपका dessert बनता है. We can do any filling we want. So we are going to focus not on the filling. So filling is already done for us, which is this, जिसमें हमारी इनकी paste है. ये हमने बनाया, ये paste है हमारी. इसमें हमारा sweet potato भी है, हमारा अरबी भी है इसके अंदर. And then whatever flavorings you want to do with this, तड़का मारना है तड़का मार लो. You can turn this pastry sweet or you can turn it savory. Thank you. Because if I'm going to make a fresh filling, we will have to wait at least half an hour to fill it up. It has to be absolutely frozen. So what I have learned over the years is the power of blast freezers. Blast freezer में क्या होता है आपका कि आप ये जो आपकी fillings हैं ये blast freezer में अगर जाएंगी ना तो ये आपको fill करना बहुत easy होता है around the pastry. So this can be actually frozen and hard, which is very easy tip to make this into something very even. जो लोग सोचते हैं कि इतने रेस्टोरेंट में परफेक्ट कैसे होता है, because we sometimes use blast freezers to make sure. When you have practiced, that's a different thing. But the thing is that we have to be, this has to be totally chilled, क्योंकि बहुत delicate flavor है इसका. अब ये filling imagination आप लोगों पे है. You can also use this to mince chickens. You can do this in minced meats, कीमा बना के. But you have to remember one thing. This cannot be in. It has to be in a. It has. You see the stability of the form. It has to be this stable form. अगर इससे कम होगा तो उसमें फिलिंग में यू आर नॉट गोइंग टू गेट द जो हम अचीव करना चाहते हैं परफेक्ट राउंडनेस, वो कभी नहीं आएगी. वी हैव 7-8 डिफरेंट काइंड्स ऑफ फिलिंग्स विच आई कैन टेल यू, जो इनमें बहुत जाती हैं. एनी क्वेश्चंस पूछते रहो प्लीज, बिकॉज वी हैव टू मूव फास्ट ऑन दिस. द मोस्ट अनयूजुअल फिलिंग इज टेक अ क्लासिकल डिश. One of my most unusual filling of this pastry has been prawn balchao, which comes from Goa. It's a Portuguese influence. वो मेरी आज तक की बेस्ट फिलिंग रही है, जो लोग खा के उनको पागल हो जाते हैं कि what the hell is inside. तो आपने क्लासिक डिश को लेके आपने उसको बिल्कुल ही चेंज कर दिया, और because of the crust it's going to be so delicious. जो मर्जी डालो. अबे वेजिटेरियन तो बना, इतनी देर से वेजिटेरियन की बात कर रहा हूँ, मैंने एक बोला प्राण बोलचाओ हमारे लिए. You know, people are mistaken. In India, there's a much more vegetarians have a higher hand, upper hand. उनकी choices are so much. हमारी तो वही चिकन में तो वही 3-4 सॉसेज जा रही हैं, right? So this is what we do. I generally like to freeze them. अभी हमारे पास उसका भी टाइम नहीं, because if put in the blast freezer, that is also going to take a lot of time. Season it with anything you want. One great seasoning which we figured out, I don't know if anybody knows, is from Udupi, from that side, Mangalore side. Mangalore side से कोई है? Mangalore में एक classic dish बनती है घी रोस्ट. आप वो घी रोस्ट की रेसिपी जो है वो चिकन की बनती है traditionally, but you can make it with plantain, कच्चा केला, जो यहाँ की cuisine में बहुत यूज़ होता है. You can take the ghee roast and you can turn the plantain into total ghee roast. You can mash it up, turn it into balls and freeze it. Freeze it so that you get this perfect round. We're going to start rolling now because we are also. थोड़ी दे दोगे और napkins, tissue papers दे दोगे. Sorry, I'm just. Of course. There is a dish, later when we started researching, because we were all shocked, right? So, rice pakne ke liye kya chahiye? You need to soak it to hydrate the rice. And what second is? A medium in which rice can cook, right? If somebody, Harry thought of that, right? Like, how do you even think about it? Chawal palatable hai? Watermelon juice palatable hai? Okay, I'm not sure if anybody is from my part of the world here. अगर कोई पंजाब से है मैं एक चीज़ बोलूँगा उनको, पीछे मुड़ के देख लें. I don't know if they will know. There used to be a dish cooked during Diwali and during Lodi. It used to be called raw wale chawal. Raw wale chawal, it means गन्ने का जूस निकाल के हम उसके अंदर चावल पकाएंगे और raw wale chawal. That made me think of Harry's dish. What are we doing? We are using ganne ka juice, and just remember, there was no good, there was no sugar few centuries ago. Indians were making sweets. So ganne का जूस जो होता है ऑलमोस्ट हर गांव में अभी भी जाओगे इतनी बड़ी देग होती है, भिगोए हुए चावल होते हैं, जितना चावल है उससे दुगना उसमें होता है गन्ने का जूस. अब गन्ने का जूस, गन्ना एवरीबॉडी नोस, sugarcane juice, you use double the quantity. And please, this is the right season, please try it at home. Take small rice, any kind of rice, small one. You've got to soak it at least for 30 minutes. वो गलती मत करना. कच्चे चावल मत डालना गन्ने के जूस में और sugarcane juice में. Take your small rice and you start working. Dose करना शुरू करते हैं. Broken rice works much better. See, basmati rice to use in kheers, it breaks my heart. You know, paisams वगैरह में you cannot use, you cannot use that. It's a very wrong thing to start with. Rolling. शुरू कर रहे. So what we'll do is, we'll take 1 cup of rice. अब ये recipe viral होनी चाहिए हमारी. करना, कट करके. Pot, take गन्ने का juice, sugarcane juice, double the quantity, okay, but make sure it is clean, because sometimes उसमें क्या होता है बहुत ज़्यादा जब when they added नींबू नहीं होना चाहिए, कुछ नहीं होना चाहिए, because it won't let the rice cook. Please remember that. When you're getting it from the shop, just make should be no salt. When you keep it on fire, after 2 minutes, add the rice. Heat it, medium heat, 2 minutes, and then just cook the way you cook the rice. You are going to thank me later. But in the end, add little cardamom, or you can even add little fennel seeds, saunf. You can crush it and add it. This is one of the oldest recipes in the world since humans started cooking in bowls. Because rice was available, sugarcane juice was available. That's how it worked. बच्चे दिखाना पड़ेगा ना, ऐसे नहीं कर सकते ना, उनको पता नहीं लगा. फिर से कर. So what? भाई ने कहा हो गया, मैंने कुकिंग कर दी. Of course, I was educated in South. How many people actually know about that? मैं तो ऐसा, मेरे को तो लगा मोमबत्ती है. मेरे लगा मोमबत्ती है. मैं हैप्पी दिवाली बोल रहा हूँ यहाँ पे. दुनिया बहुत बदल गई है शेफ. थोड़ा मैदा मिलेगा. अब मैं आपसे पूछ रहा हूं, अब वाटरमेलन जूस का जवाब मिल गया आपको? That's what he did. He took an old recipe and he put it right in front of us. थोड़ा मैदा मिलेगा. सबको पता है स्टफ कैसे करना है. We take this, we stuff it with this. आपका वो जो है वो नहीं है अभी आपका. प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड. अभी हमको ड्रामा करना है बाहर का. I I can't talk about that. Confidential.
हेलो
क्योंकि आप मुझे पूछोगे जीता कौन, आप नहीं पूछोगे, बहुत लोगों के दिमाग में आएगा। हाँ, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर कमिंग। सो व्हाट वी डू इज, दिख रहा है, एंड वी फिल इट अप, वी कवर इट एंड वी स्टार्ट रोलिंग इट अगेन। चला जा, अब बच्चे बताना है, हर स्टेप करते हैं ना, एकदम नहीं करना था। दिस इज द ब्यूटी ऑफ दिस डिश। अब शुरू हो जाता हूँ, मैं क्वेश्चन देता हूँ, वी गोना बी कीप रोलिंग। अच्छा, थोड़ा सा मैदा देना पड़ेगा। वी नीड रेस्टिंग टाइम इज द गेम, दिस गेम इज बेस्ड ऑन द रेस्टिंग टाइम। शुरू हो जाता हूँ, दिस इज द रेस्टिंग टाइम। हाँ जी, जब कुछ भी चेंज करो, करता रहे आराम से। यू हैव टू रोल इट अगेन एंड अगेन। आई शो यू हाउ फार वी गो इन दिस। सो दैट इज समथिंग वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। ही मेड अस थिंक दैट कोकोनट राइस बनते हैं यहाँ पे, एंड ही इज़ फ्रॉम कर्नाटका, ही इज़ फ्रॉम बैंगलोर। दैट इज़ वेरी गॉट द आइडिया फ्रॉम। अगर कोकोनट क्रीम में हम चावल पका सकते हैं, वाटरमेलन जूस में क्यों नहीं पका सकते? लाइक सी द पावर ऑफ इमेजिनेशन एंड एवरीथिंग फॉर अस। और हम लोग देख रहे हैं इंटरनेट पे कोई दुनिया में जगह है जहाँ ऐसा बनता है, एंड देन यू सॉ या पीपल कुक दिस इन वाटरमेलन राइस। हम लोगों के लिए नहीं आता तो वी गॉट शॉक्ड। सो वंस यू लेयर इट आउट, this is a very important thing. Now this is important. You got to roll this, and this will be rolled 6 times, everyone. Cigar, press it hard. एक तरीका ये है, दूसरा तरीका ये है कि हम इसको भी आधा काटेंगे, right? दिख रहा है? Right? Which is like a roulade, not a big deal. But now the work starts when you have to put it back, and this press is very important because you can't destroy the circle. Just remember that it is all happening because of the glutens. Acha bachcha. Any questions?
विकास सर,
मैं मम्मा के पास जा रहा हूँ दिवाली मनाने, और जाते ही मेरी मम्मा ऐसे नहीं होगा कि अमृतसर इज़ अ वेरी डिफरेंट सिटी। आई डोंट नो हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू हैव गॉन टू अमृतसर, सो यू कीप योर एवरीथिंग आउटसाइड। माई मॉम डजंट वांट टू हियर व्हाट यू डू। आई लव दैट। यू आर दैट बॉय इन द होम टाउन। देयर इज ऑल्सो प्रॉब्लम विद अमृतसर। आई एम नॉट अ गेस्ट इवन एट अ रेस्टोरेंट। आई एम गोना डू अ वीडियो एंड पोस्ट इट कि व्हेन आई गो टू एनी प्लेस टू ईट, अरे सर आ जाओ खाना बनाओ। मैं घर जाऊँगा, मम्मा कहेंगे चलो अचार डाल दे। मम्मा मैं कुछ घंटे के लिए आया हूँ, अच्छा डाल दे, वो सब कुछ बांटूंगी मैं। फिर मासियाँ आ जाएंगी, बुएँ आ जाएंगी, सब आ जाएंगी, तो आप किचन में खड़े होकर अचार डाल रहे हो। आई लव दैट एक्चुअली। सो आई डोंट केयर वेयर माई शेफ हैट एट होम। सो दिस इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एट दिस स्टेज व्हाट वी आर डूइंग। यू कैन सी द फॉर्म बीइंग लाइक क्रिएटेड, राइट? करता रहा। सबसे मुश्किल बात अभी यहाँ पे है इसकी। दिस इज द हार्डेस्ट जॉब नाउ, पुलिंग दिस अप एंड अप without disturbing the beauty of this. आप कहोगे इतना नखरा क्यों, आपके सामने ही है, right? But what we can do is each one of them, this is total practice. I'm also distracted right now. But when you do it in full focus, the beauty of this comes when those two layers, they take the heat. You need to refrigerate this so that the butter sets. सारी गेम ये मक्खन की है। हम इसको रेफ्रिजरेटर में रखेंगे और हम इसको सेट करने देंगे अभी. We're going to show you. This is a lot one. So it depends on when you're rolling this, you know, how much you're putting this forward. There are two different variations. But the thing is that the moment you start heating this, the water inside the butter layer is going to start turning into steam and break the layer. The layers of croissant, the layers of everything. आप चाहें तो इसको फ्राई कर सकते हैं या चाहें तो इसको हम बेक कर सकते हैं. राइट? इसके साथ हमको सॉस चाहिए. हम चाहें तो इसके साथ कोई भी सॉस सर्व कर सकते हैं. खट्टी मीठी सॉस, इमली की सॉस. अगर हम चाहें तो इसके साथ एक सॉस सर्व होती है, इमली के पत्तों की सॉस. उनमें खटास रहती है, एक मिठास रहती है, अंडरटोन्स ऑफ सावरनेस होते हैं. आप चाहें तो इनके साथ कुछ भी सर्व कर सकते हैं, पर प्लीज़ इसका केचप सर्व मत करना. मुझे केचप से नफरत है. बिकॉज आई फील केचप अगर हो तो घर की केचप हो. एक केचप बनती है फिलीपींस में, वियतनाम में. मैं आपको उसकी रेसिपी बता रहा हूँ. आप प्लीज़ घर पे जाकर ट्राई कीजिएगा उसकी रेसिपी. आई रिक्वेस्ट यू. बट यू नीड अ गुड ब्लेंडर टू मेक दैट डिश. ओके, हम ये सब कुछ मैं डाल दूंगा. नॉट अ बिग डील. हीट द ऑयल. यू ऐड योर करी लीव्स. सिंपल. लिटिल बिट ऑफ हिंग, लहसुन, लाल मिर्च. You have the best large mirch in the world, I feel. You cook it, add little bit of onion, caramelize it. Easy? कोई सोचने की बात नहीं है, जो घर में रोज़ करते हो आप. उसके बाद उसमें आप डालेंगे टोमेटो पेस्ट. राइट? वो आपको बाज़ार की बेटर है, I'll be honest, क्योंकि घर में टोमेटो पेस्ट बनाने में बहुत मेहनत लगती है. You keep cooking it. उसमें हम डालेंगे सिरका. सिरका डालते हम डालेंगे उसमें एनी स्वीटनर जो आपको ठीक लगता है. गुड़ डालें, गुड़ डालें. गुड़ के साथ रंग बदलेगा, ये मैं कहूँगा. तो शक्कर डालें. उसके बाद आप उसमें डालेंगे भुना हुआ जीरा, ऑल दोज थिंग्स फ्लेवरिंग डाला, सीजनिंग. और साथ में सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट चीज़ जाएगी इसके अंदर केला. पका केला, पका हुआ केला. राइट? अभी टोमेटो पेस्ट जो है उसमें खटास होगी, सिरके में खटास होगी, केले में मिठास होगी. आपने साथ में सॉल्ट के साथ बैलेंस किया, मिर्ची उसके साथ है. आपने एक सॉस से कुक किया, सो आपकी बन गई बनाना केचप. या बट दैट इज एन अमेजिंग कॉम्बिनेशन विद दिस. आई शेफ, यू आर टू एडोरेबल.
सर,
हाँ जी.
this is completely off topic, but can I know what's your favorite Hyderabadi food? Favorite Hyderabadi food?
हम एक ना मेरे जो दुबई में रेस्टोरेंट है वहाँ पे हम सर्व करते हैं आपका क्या कहते हैं, मोल्टन केक. उसके साथ हम सर्व करते हैं खुमानी का मीठा.
Wow.
माय वर्जन. यू हैव टू सी दिस व्हाट वी डू. इतनी सुंदर तरह खुमानी बहुत कम कंट्रीज़ में, कल्चर्स में यूज़ हुई है, बहुत कम. एंड आई फील दैट दैट इज़ सच एन आपको सबको बिरयानी टेक ओवर कर जाती है समहाउ, यू नो, हैदराबादी बिरयानी. बट देयर इज़ सो मच. मैंने जो बोला आपको कि जो खट्टा गोश्त है आपका, इट्स पॉसिबली वन ऑफ द बेस्ट इन द वर्ल्ड. पॉसिबली वन ऑफ द बेस्ट इफ़ यू यूज़ द राइट क्वालिटी ऑफ गोट. बट प्रॉब्लम यह है कि अमेरिका में गोट नहीं मिलता. अमेरिका इज़ अ लैम्ब ईटिंग कंट्री और उसमें इतना फ्लेवर नहीं होता. सो वी हैव टू रियली सर्च फॉर गुड क्वालिटी गोट टू कंपेयर टू हैदराबादी cuisine. But because the city is so popular, everything is so popular, what happens is that they become like the most important. बिरयानी से dominate होता है वो. But when you start discovering about the cuisines here, you will know the power of the cuisine in this country. I'm going to quickly show you after baking how this turns out to be. ये आपकी होगी, इसका नाम रखते हैं फॉरेन रिटर्न कचौड़ी. इसके साथ वो जो आपको मैंने सॉस बोली है, प्लीज़ ट्राई इट, यू विल बी सरप्राइज्ड. इट हैज़ बिकॉज उसमें सिरका है और चीनी है और केला. चीनी अब डिपेंड करता है केले के ऊपर. मैंने आपको बहुत ही वाइड रेसिपी बताई है. प्लीज़ ट्राई इट एंड यू कैन रेफ्रिजरेट इट. इट इज़ रियली एन अमेजिंग ऑल्टरनेटिव टू मेयोज एंड एवरीथिंग. Just spread it on your regular sandwiches and or serve it to your FRK, foreign return कचौड़ी. और फिलिंग्स इसमें बहुत हैं. आपको vision बहुत ज़्यादा चाहिए to create something so beautiful. Thank you chefs for helping us. इतनी जल्दी if I get into this बहुत मुश्किल ही ख़त्म होती class because I actually thought कि अगर मैं time पे पहुँच गया I'm going to make somebody roll it to understand कि इसकी बारीकियाँ कितनी होती हैं when you keep rolling it. Once you keep rolling it, you have to keep going 3-4 times, turn it again. जैसे हम बनाते हैं आपका मालाबारी पराठा. Just remember, layering is everything in gluten. But here the idea is the two doughs where the entire game changes.
Thank you, Mr. Vikas Khanna. I'm sure everyone in the audience is completely mesmerized. As we come to the end of this wonderful afternoon, could I kindly request everyone to please remain seated and invite Ms. Priya Gazdar, Senior Vice Chairperson, Flow Hyderabad Chapter, to deliver the vote of thanks, and Ms. Minakshi Nahata to present the autograph sheet.
I think we are all so mesmerized, so bowled over, and so full of what Chef Vikas Khanna has told us. His story has added generous dollops of inspiration to all of us today, to our lives. So to the man who's cooked for world leaders, but still cherishes his grandmother's and his mama's recipes, we say thank you, Chef. And to Hyderabad's own chef, Shankar Krishnamurthy, who has introduced our city to global cuisine and adventurous fusion food, our deepest gratitude for insightfully stirring the ingredients of your culinary magic and making this conversation with Chef Vikas Khanna so delectable. For supporting us in bringing this delicious session to Flow Hyderabad, I would like to express our gratitude to premium platinum sponsors, Kaveri Seeds and Shiv Narayan Jewelers, premium diamond sponsor Freedom Oil, diamond sponsor ARL Tires, and initiative sponsor Prayag Nutri. Applause to the event and working committees for yet another flawless event. Many thanks to our past chairpersons for their encouraging presence. And special thanks to Flow past President Malvika Rai and past chairperson Flow Pune, Neelam Savlekar, for being here with us earlier this evening. And to each one of you in the audience for staying on and enjoying this whole evening and making this event a grand success. Bon appetit and best wishes for a happy, healthy, prosperous and safe Diwali to you and your loved ones. Thank you.
Ladies, could I kindly request everyone to please remain seated? We have a little surprise for Mr. Vikas Khanna. It's his birthday week and we would love to celebrate today with him.
To authors, to dancers, to magicians, you guys helped us to create a community which is unlike anything. So thank you so much. Thank you. No. Oh my God.
आजा पटियाले सजना ukala shakala mezala सरदार तेरे सजना तेन तक दिया मेरिया गलियां पटियाले आजा सजना तेन तक दिया दिल दिया गलियां गलियां मेरे जान मत जामण लेकिन साथा चली के तू मेरा रांझना दिल दा चानना फिर भी हंसी आई दिल विच मस्ती आई दिल मेरा है मुफेरा मेरा नाम तेरा तुम रखी सारी दुनिया